Muletile community is located 121 kilometers southeast of Tzaneen in the Hoedspruit area of the Limpopo province. This community comprises of 5 groups of 1,615 families who are represented by the Muletile Communal Property Association or CPA. The project structured a partnership with an investor to develop the 151 hectares of land owned by the community as an integrated farming unit with a mix of fruit variety including mango and citrus. Hundreds of jobs are being created. Vumelana Advisory played a very significant role contributing towards the success of Muletile CPA. Peter tells us about Vumelana's establishment and how their interventions in land reform assisted beneficiaries.
Vumelana was established in 2012. It is a legacy project of the erstwhile Business Trust. When the Business Trust closed down, Vumelana was formed essentially to assist beneficiaries of land reform. We work through what we call transaction advisors. You have communities on the one hand who are the new owners of land. On the other end of the spectrum, you've got what you call your investors who've got access to capital, who've got access to budget. So the transaction advisors, what they will do, they will try to structure a commercially beneficial relationship between these two parties, basically to mobilize investments so that much needed jobs and income can be created for the communities and skills development. Once the two parties actually agree, an agreement would be structured, which would be signed by the parties. As Vumelana, we pay this transaction advisory fees, which means communities would never have to pay a cent for this kind of services. We would also pay the advisors their own money, meaning if the deal doesn't go through, we take the risk as Vumelana, we will pay the transaction advisors. Only when the deal is concluded successfully will we recover the costs that we paid the transaction advisor from the investor. Once we've recovered the fees that we paid to the transaction advisor from the investor, we would reinvest these funds to the community in order to assist them with things like setting up governance processes in place to make sure that they can develop policies and procedures to make sure that they can start running their businesses more sustainably. We have an elaborate process that we follow to decide which projects we need to support. Most importantly, we would look at projects that would have a high social impact. For example, 100 or more jobs that we are likely to create from supporting such a transaction. We would also look at, amongst other things, whether is it feasible to actually conclude a contract in respect of, by supporting that project, whether we will be able to clinch a deal or rather to mobilize the required investments. And lastly, we would also look at projects that would have a useful demonstration effect. Remember, there are a number of challenges within the land reform space. So typically we would be looking at projects when we've supported them, various role players and stakeholders out there could actually look at such project and actually say, look, we do think the community private partnership has got a big role to play in the land reform space. It can actually contribute towards successful land reform in South Africa.